Welcome to Chas with Chastain. Today we are going to talk to Dr. Chastain about our district strategic plan. So thank you so much. First up, tell me about what is a strategic plan and why is it important for our district to have one?
Yeah, a strategic plan, not only is it a requirement by our state Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, but really it is a roadmap to what a district desires and so that we can see the outcomes of the work that we do in a district. And a lot of times those strategic plans, not only are they strategics, but they're a plan that extends over time. Mm-hmm. And so if we think of our plan as something that we can just do in a year and be done and maybe not do it again, it really does not help us. We want to look at a strategic plan that has implications for 5 years, mm-hmm. so that we can make sure that we can accomplish all that we want to do in our district. And that roadmap, not only for our district, it helps us plan what we're going to do and involve the community, but really is what our board, with their approval, says to us, this is what you should be focused on. Mm-hmm.
So tell me about the process.
Yeah, so with our process, we first came up with a strategic planning committee, mm-hmm. Which had over 30 members of that planning committee who met and really took the time to understand who we are as a district and a community and to figure out where we wanted to go over the next 5 years and how we could see growth in that time over the next 5 years. Mm-hmm. We had students, we had staff, we had administrators, and then we had community members and parents, which was a big part of involvement in the work that we were doing. From there, they worked for 2.5 days to really put together some strong hopes, dreams, and wishes for our district, and from that they came up with 7 strategies. Those seven strategies,
yeah,
7 strategies then were given to a community meeting where we had over 60 people that came, and we asked them, could you help us with these 7 strategies, break up to figure out, can we do some action planning? There we created action teams for each of those 7 strategies. Those teams worked over 3 months to really dive into the research, the work, and to determine how could we accomplish those 7 strategies. Mm-hmm. They came back to that action planning team and said, do you agree with the work that we did? And with agreeance from the strategic planning team, they then gave that plan over to the school board for approval. And the board approved that in October, and here we are.
Here we are. That's great. Okay, so tell me a little bit about, I know that strategic planning team at the beginning, you talked about hopes and dreams, and they set some objectives for the district. What were those objectives they set?
Yeah, so the objectives that they came up with, one of which was to increase the number of college and career-ready students that we had. The next was to increase the enrollment of our school district. We know that we have dropped students over the last 10 years, and it's important for us to start building that back up. We also wanted to increase the sense of safety that our students had. We also wanted to increase their academic growth, and we wanted to increase our attendance percentage.
Right. Very good. And then I think also in that work they rewrote our mission statement.
They did, and our mission statement that we had before was short and sweet, but was talking about achieving excellence in education. Mm-hmm. And what they wanted to do was to paint a clearer picture of the work that we are doing here in our school district. So that new mission statement was approved by the board, and it's really one that we feel is very supportive of the work we do here in our district.
Okay, so let's go back to the strategies, the foundation kind of this plan, what it's all built around. What are those 7 strategy areas?
Yeah, so in order to achieve those objectives, we have 7 areas that we need to target and to focus on, one of which is community partnerships. We want to increase and support community partnerships here in Harrisonville. The next one was early childhood education and how can we expand that and support what's going on in our district. We also had quality staff. How do we attract and retain quality staff? We also looked at safety. How could we, again, support the sense of safety for our families and staff? We also have student achievement, which is important. We know how important our instruction here is in Harrisonville, and so we want to make sure that that's a part of our growth of the next 5 years. Our final two were technology, making sure that we were using technology correctly and appropriately. And then finally, we wanted to make sure that we were focused on the well-being of our staff and students so that we can provide the best instructional environment possible.
Right. So once that strategic planning team created those strategies, they went to the action planning teams. Tell me a little bit about their work.
Yeah, so they took about 3 months, and that work was to research how do we come up with some plans to achieve those strategies. So if we have technology, so what are we thinking that will help us use technology more appropriately? And so they came up with a couple of plans, one of which is to make sure that we have age-appropriate technology policies, cell phone policies, and making sure that we are taking care of and using the right technology. So those are action plans. And that wasn't the only work that they did, was just to come up with a few thoughts about that. But then they had to really break it down in what are the steps that are needed in order to accomplish the action plan. And they had to do the work to do the cost-benefit analysis, because we know if we're asking everybody to do something, there's a cost related to it. And it may not necessarily be a tangible cost. It could be, does it take more time from our staff members or our community in order to do that? But that was a great deal of intricate work that they did in order to come up with those action plans. And I'll tell you, 29 action plans that they came up with that will help us to accomplish those 7 strategies.
Yep, very good. So now that we have those action plans, what's the next step for the process?
Yeah, so we're not starting, it wasn't approved in July or August, so we're a little behind in getting our action plans going, but our cabinet team here at Central Office looked at the 29 action plans and said, okay, how many can we appropriately tackle this school year and really try to accomplish this school year? And even though we know we have 5 years, we really want to get after it and get them all done. But we really landed on 7 action plans that we're going to be focused on this school year in order to make sure that we're accountable to the planning team who says this is important. And our board says this is our roadmap. So 7 is a lofty goal, but we're excited about tackling it.
So 7. So let's start with a little bit about some of that work we'll see this year happening.
So the first one, and it's important to note that our strategies are really not in order.
Right.
There's not one that's more important than the other, but some of them build upon each other. And like I said, we can't do it all this first year. So we picked a couple of strategies and action plans to focus on. And the first one that we are focused on is early childhood education. We know that the expansion of early childhood would be very important in our community, because as we look at daycare needs and before and after school care, we know that that's important. So the 2 we are focused on with early childhood is to expand our preschool. And we really want to find a way to add 3-year-olds to our preschool. Right now we have 2 morning and 2 afternoon classes of 4-year-olds, and increasing that with the 3-year-olds would be fantastic, and expanding our 4-year-olds programs as well. And looking at ways to have it full day, because that's what our families are telling us that they need. We can't pick them up in the middle of the day or drop them off in the middle of the day. So we're going to be looking at that, and we're excited. Now we've already started that process a little bit, because you can't expand a preschool where you don't have any room. Right. And so we are already looking at our plans to move our kindergarten class for the 25-26 school year over to HES. Yeah. and that will put kindergarten, first and second grade at HES. Now you say, what happens to the third grade?
Yeah.
Well, our third grade is going to move over to McEwen in the 25-26 school year. And so that's a little bit of a shift, but because of our decreased enrollment, we have space. It's not really a space issue, but it really will help our early childhood education, K-1-2, work closely together, and then our 3-4-5, which is our first MAP assessment grades, and they can work together. So now that gives us some room in our early childhood center for that expansion. And so besides the expansion of early childhood education programs, preschool programs for 3 and 4 year olds, we also need to look at before and after school programs, because we have families that need to go to work and they need to drop their kids off early, or they need to pick them up later, and so that's something we'll be looking at as well. The next one that we have is the quality staff, and we have attract quality staff and retain quality staff, and we're going to start with the retain because we really want to keep the great people that we have in our district. And it kind of goes back to what can we do for our staff as a benefit, and one of those is that early childhood expansion, and so that's very important. Next strategy that we'll be focused on is our academic achievement, and so we are looking at the implementation of professional learning communities. I don't want to get into the weeds of all of that, but really it is, how do we focus on the individual needs of all of our students by working together? And so it's a really powerful process that makes sure that no student gets left behind, and very important to us, as well as making sure that what we're teaching is the best, making sure that we can teach it in an appropriate time frame, and that we can guarantee what we're teaching is the curriculum from our state. And that's a guaranteed and viable curriculum that we'll be working on.
Yep.
We also have our safety that we'll be focused on. We're looking at enhancing our lines of communication with safety, and lots of things there that we already have rolling, but we need to make sure that everybody knows the work that we're doing and feels good about that work. And then finally, the last one that we'll be focused on this year is in technology. And one that we hear a lot about, cell phone usage, especially in the high school. And we know that there's a lot of districts that are doing different things out there, and we're not the first district to really try to do something, but we don't want to be the last one to finally come around to it. But we really need to tackle what that looks like and what, as a community, we feel is best for our kids. And so that'll give us an opportunity to speak with students and staff and families to say, what do we feel is best for cell phone usage in our schools?
Yeah, that's plenty to do in a year, for sure.
Oh, it's very exciting, and I'll tell you, there might be some of those that maybe we don't get finished. They may be some that just take a little longer than we thought. And so we are accountable to that strategic planning committee and to the board. This isn't a plan that we're just going to put away and say we did it and we put it in a file. It's something that is a living, breathing document. And so we are accountable to those teams, and we come back to give an update every year. And we have a couple of things that we could do at the end of this school year. We might have to say, well, we need a little bit more time, and that's all right. We want to make sure that we accomplish it. Or we could say, yes, we've completed that. It might be just a task that needs to be done. And then finally, there's another thing that might come up, which is to say it is now operational. It means what we needed to do is now the way we do business. And that's a great thing to be able to say is, we've been asked to do this. Now it's something that we do from here on out.
Right. That's a lot. Do you have anything else you want to share about the strategic planning process?
Yeah, I just really have one other thing, and this is really important. We are asking our community, our staff members, and our students to hold us accountable to this. You know, if we go through all of this work and effort and this input, we want to make sure that we're showing our community that we are doing what we have said that we're going to do.
Yeah, very good. Well, thank you for spending some time. We have additional information on our website, so you can go to our website to see all the action plans if you'd like to read through those. But thank you for joining.
Well, thank you guys.